do you know Chano Pa? And then she said, yeah, I had dinner with him on Friday. So,
What?
I said, no, you didn't.
아, 진짜 부산 같다.
Yeah.
와.
Yeah. So I asked her, I thought she was confused. Her English was kind of low level. So I said, no, like have dinners like together. Yes, my husband is good friends with him, and then he speaks English with him, and I speak Korean with him. He's a good man. I also have done so much volunteering with like poor people and helping with education. So I've experienced the lifestyle and the thinking, the mentality of people without money, and then I've seen the mentality of people who have so much money.
Well, what is the difference?
The funny thing is actually, if you're
Their
good,
mentality.
in some ways, money doesn't affect people. Like if they're good people, if they're good, they're good. If they're bad, they're bad. Because you can be either extreme. But I will say that the appreciation for life, like that woman, some people, when I have some really rich student, I try to tell them something small, like, oh, guess what? They're like, oh, yeah. It's nothing. But the poor people, you might give them, a coffee mug or something, and then buy them a coffee, and they're like, oh, you're the best teacher.
Happiness depends on the mindset.
Yes. Money affects the appreciation sometimes, so that can affect happiness, but really I think it's the mindset.
The next question. What do you think of the problem of Koreans in learning English?
So I've been working with Koreans for forever,
Yeah.
since 2005, and honestly, there's only two things. There are only two things. The first problem is actually not the student's problem. It's a problem with the whole education system, and that is because it's a cycle. The same common mistakes are being taught over and over repeatedly in English in Korea. And so that's why, actually I'm making a book, and the name of the book is Don't Say Like That. That's the title, and that is actually a mistake. Don't say like that is a mistake, because you should say don't say it like that, don't say it like that. Or you can say don't say that, and they have different meanings. But don't say like that that's not correct English. Maybe, okay, so if there's somebody who says something bad, something like, oh, you're ugly, you say, hey, don't say that. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Yeah, that's like they said something they shouldn't say, like a kind of bad meaning. But if somebody says like a mistake in grammar, or they say English in the wrong way, you can say, oh, don't say it like that. Don't say it.
맞아. 역시 탑 티어 강사. 야, 뭔가 그 작은 부분까지 다 이렇게 딱 끄집어내는 거야. 한국에 나오는 이제 영어 책들조차도 그런 미스테이크를 하는데 이제 그런 걸 잡아내는구나.
And I make a joke because I always hear Korean people say, oh, well, almost people love chocolate, or almost people want to be rich. But I'm like, no. So I make a joke and I say, the way to remember this is almost people is if you're a zombie, because you're not really a person.
대박이다. Generally, almost people we think general people.
But it's most people. Most people.
Almost people is kind of zombie.
Yeah.
근데 사람이 될랑 말랑 almost people 사람이 될랑 말랑 나 몰랐어.
We don't even think about it. I think American people would just be confused. What do you mean almost people? They just don't think. Like what? Yeah.
와, 야 이건 진짜 몰랐다.
So that's the first problem, is that it's a system cycle. And the second problem is that Korean people care too much about what other people think. Yeah. They really get embarrassed. They don't want to make a mistake. And that is what the advantage that other countries have. So like Europeans and sometimes Chinese. But other countries, they're like, yeah, so what? It's not my first language. I don't care. Yeah, I made a mistake. But Korean people...
we care about always like a third person's perception.
Yes, and I noticed they are very embarrassed to make a mistake in front of foreigners, but even more in front of Koreans.
맞아.
And they all the time, sometimes I have very good English teachers who will not speak.
Because even though like Korean each other, we just we try to judge the level of each other's English skills. So we try to be perfect. We are afraid of making a mistake in front of especially Korean.
Yeah. Yeah. So they tell me, oh, you know, I was in America for 4 years. I was living in New York City. Now, when I go back, I can't speak because they will expect my English to be perfect.
So, next question. 난 이 질문이 솔직히 좀 제일 궁금해서. You already, before you told that you teaching so many like executives like from Korean company like Samsung, LG,
Yeah.
Hyundai. So, comparing like those CEOs, could you tell what some characteristics or the level of English like spoken English things?
Yeah, I would say that, of course, it depends on case by case, right?
Case by case.
Yes.
일반적인 게 아닙니다. Case by case.
Yes, case by case. But I will notice the most noticeable thing is Samsung are like top. Like Samsung employees, yeah.
여기 그래서 삼성인가?
Yeah.
오.
Even if some people told me, oh, I used to work for, I don't know why, it's kind of habit. Like some people told me I worked for Samsung for a short time. So I don't know if then they switched to another company. If they ever worked at Samsung, their English is usually very good and their standards are very high. They're kind of perfectionists.
Wait. So for the fair game, those guys are not like maybe Korean American.
Korean. The executives that I worked with are just Korean.
당연히 임원급이면 교포일 리는 없고. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So usually in almost all of them were in New York City, but now I've been back here for 2.5 years, and I have worked with some executives here a few times. I usually don't. I'm not teaching private lessons. I'm not taking any more clients these days because I'm doing my program. The other ones from the other companies, they were. I wouldn't say like I would say they were more intermediate level, and maybe just by chance from Hyundai and LG, I got the workers. Usually, those people were preparing for some exam. Something like that, or business meetings. But if they were preparing for some like a English proficiency exam, it was usually not Samsung. Samsung would come to me for some very important business meeting or deal, something like that.
뭔가 오케이. Like 그러니까 삼성은 뭔가 중요한 이렇게 회의를 위해서 이렇게 자문을 구하기 위해서 오는데. 현대나 뭐 LG는 이렇게 시험 테스팅을 하기 위해서 찾아온다. 오케이.
But all of the executives were usually the short term, so they would work with me for a month or two. Sometimes they would call me and then just like, listen, I need 2 meetings and we need to review my presentation. So sometimes I help with cultural tips too.
예, 제가 딱 듣고 느낀 건 뭐냐면 어쨌든 그 정도 대기업의 임원급들도 이런 작은 실수들을 주기 위해서 항상 자신들을 이제 시험대에 올려가지고 계속 완벽하고 이렇게 자꾸 고쳐나가는 모습. 그게 일단은 좋고. Okay, what is your future plan?
So my future plan is to I've had a business. I've had Empire English. It's called Empire English.
English.
Yeah, and I had an English retreat for adults in New York. So right now my focus is on the NicoleTeacher.com, which will be the membership program, and then my courses, and then I can be totally like I can help more people that way. So if instead of doing one-on-one, I can help many people. So my future plan is to keep going with my online program for 1 year. Then I have a children's, it's kind of like a summer camp. So it will be a travel study program for children to come over to New York. And that's all planned out already after COVID. Yeah. Oh yeah, so the children's program is amazing and that will be like Broadway shows.
Wow.
Yeah, many things actually. And I know so many people in New York City and New York State. I know so many Americans that I have a good connection. So in some places we can have like back entrance VIP experiences.
Here's my opinion. 이거는 제가 봤을 때 일단 이분이랑 아이들이 이제 이런 니코리아 운영하는 이렇게 시스템에 가면 영어뿐만 아니라 이 네트워크들이 굉장히 이제 넓어질 것 같다는 생각은 들어요.
So I have many different plans, but right now my focus is the online program.
네, 지금까지 뉴욕시티의 영어 1타 강사 이제 니콜과의 대화였습니다. 참, 역시 영어 다르긴 다르군요. 그래서 다음은 이제 제가 니콜한테 우리나라 이제 전통 음식 중에 하나인 호떡을 이제 제공할 건데 호떡 같이 이렇게 쿠킹하는 영상도 함께 감상하시죠. 좋아요와 구독도 부탁드리겠습니다. 바이.